Boys, gals, and non-binary powers. This is going to be an absolute banger. We've got the pro free-for-alls back and happening. This is an absolutely stacked lobby. The first free-for-all I've got to cast actually on the Sultan's Ascent expansion. And you're going to see it by the civs involved and the beautiful flags alongside their name. And this game, folks, this is absolutely stacked. Check out the names we've got here. We've got the one and only Beastie in the purple as the Byzantines. Was this random? I think this was a random game, right? Did he? No, dude, I'm looking at like the civ choices and the colors. There's no way this was random and he got like the right color. Beastie knows something we don't. Purple, as your perfect purple rather, as you're playing the Byzantines. But let's go through the rest of the list because there's plenty of people here. We've got Don Artie playing in the red as the English. Kaiser Johann playing as the Rus in the orange. We've got Nev. I'm not sure who this is. This is the only one I'm not sure of. In the green, playing as the Chinese. We then have Numidan. Love to see some Numidan playing as Jeanne D'Arc in the blue. And then giving us the other French, we've got the one and only Mr. Munch. Glad to see them returning here. I don't get to see much of Mr. Munch outside of free-for-alls, but they always impress me when we're playing in them. So we are going to see French, pink, Mr. Munch. And then it is the kid. Apparently on a stroll through the dark forest without their parents right now, as Voldemar is traveling cross-map as the Delhi. Hasn't decided where he wants to start his empire yet. There's finally time. Glad to see the return of Voldemar. I missed him for a bit, but he's been active again. And then rounding out... Oh, I missed this fella. I mean, sometimes I make him the butt of my joke, but it's all good. It's all love in the end of the day. And we love to see the return of the one and only core. And we love to see that he's playing the Mongols and for once isn't in a corner. Can we just appreciate the natural growth of core to not just always be in the corner? What an amazing turn of events here. I'm not used to seeing that. Instead, Beastie's in the corner. Good lord. And is it random Civ Nomad? I don't know if I got one of the players that was in this. I was under the assumption this was mega random Civs. If it was, then BC made a hell of a punt going for purple, considering it's usually yellow and he was hosting the lobby. So part of me is leaning that the people selected their civs, but I'm hoping I'm wrong there. I guess, it would be kind of cool to let them select their civs so that people can try the new civs in this mode if they want to. But we have got 2 new civs in total. So a lot of old civs. I'm surprised no one went for Zhu, but I think Zhu's like weaker Chinese in the late game. On top of that, what the other civs, Order the Dragon could have been really interesting in free-for-alls. I guess the issue is like having the flexibility of units. You tend to be very strong in one location. You don't play wide map well. Japanese not being in free-for-alls is a very big surprise to me. I think Japanese are low-key ridiculous in free-for-alls because of their ability to, over time, build an entire army of Zutsu. Right? Like... You know those games where you see a million French knights running around the field? Like literally the entire army is French knights. You know the kind of stuff that we've seen the likes of Zertan do? The things that you'll see Korn, the French, do in free-for-alls all the time, where it's 80 knights. Imagine that, but as Zutsu. It's incredibly strong because of how long free-for-all games can be. You tend to get an opportunity to do that. Now, I'm going to speed up the early game a little bit because, of course, we are setting up the bases. We probably should have done that out of the gate here. And it's an interesting map we've got here, actually, because there's only water in the south, and 2 players are taking full advantage of that. We are going to see Mr. Munch try to play into the water a little bit, but the big benefactors are over here. Nev in the green, as the Chinese of all civs, gets practically all the fish. Orange gets a small retreat, so Kaiser Johann on the Rus, another civ that loves fishing, is going to be benefiting from that as well. There's a lot of deep water fish, so never-ending food supplies here. I think green is really scary in this game, actually. Green more or less got a corner themselves, while other people are going to be contested, especially around the center. A lot of gold here, which is naturally going to pull players in, especially when you consider some of their civs. Voldemar playing as the Delhi, a lot of gold demand if you want to get into things like elephants in the late game. We have got 2 French, which means knights require a gold source. And then on top of that, Rus are also a civ that are pretty gold heavy. They can get their decent amount of gold via the high trade house and hunting cabins, but if they're going Streltsy plus knight, adds up quite fast. Well, I'm looking at the map as well, and something else I'm noticing is in terms of trade posts, your options are heavily limited towards the center here, actually, as it should be. So in this mega random map, there are 4 trade posts, and they are all in the center of the map. So if anyone does want to try trade, cool, it's going to be difficult. And the reason I mentioned Core is he is playing as the Mongols, but this is not one of those games they can cheekily trade in a corner. So, looks like tech ups are going to start coming through. And Beastie has, of course, gone for the Grand Winery. Makes a lot of sense. I think that genuinely the Hippodrome with Triumph playing ultra late game does have some relevance. It does have a place. But Grand Winery just gives you a bit more flexibility. It's like if you don't want to play mass Cataphract, mass Horseman, it makes a lot more sense to just set up that Grand Winery, give yourself a lot more scalability on the Mercenaries in the league. I'm not going to see Silvertree immediately. Wow, so he's immediately going to try to trade here? That's a bold maneuver, Con. People highlight Numidan Spawn is pretty good. Yes. So the cool thing about Numidan Spawn, like he's already secured the gold and the stone on the front side. Another detail is at the back here. Look at this, dude. No one else is contesting this area. There's a risk that Kazi Johan plays into it, but if he doesn't, then Numidan can actually just set up back here and last a very long time. This is a very defendable location as well, with all the natural wood lines around the area. So tech-ups coming through from each player. So you're probably checking what's happening. So it looks like it is going to be Tower Victory for the Delhi. No surprise there. The game's going to go long. It just tends to be 10 times better than the Dome of Faith. It's going to be Council Hall at Donai. That's a little bit more surprising, but then you have to remember where he's situated right now. He's right next to a French player, so he wants to have that longbow opportunity to try and snipe him out early, get a little bit of breathing room in the center here. Obviously, north side, we did see the commitment into the Silver Tree coming out from Core. And over here, it's just going to be standard Barbican play. Kind of surprised he didn't get the Imperial Academy, but it makes sense when you consider that if this wood line is ever at risk for green, Nev's dead. Right? He has no other wood he can access. Down here is too risky because the Roos are going to contest you. So it really is all about protecting this lifeline to fuel an empire. And I love the fact, did he transport? Dude, he transport ship. That is actually really cool. So there was no gold on this island for him because the Kremlin went up from Kazi Johan. So his only play was to ship across and secure gold elsewhere. Smart read there by Nev. Just checking the numbers as well for Nev because I am now curious about their ranking. Nev is 889th, so not the absolute tippity top. No, sorry, 339th. The numbers were wrong at first. So 339th, they primarily play a lot of team games. So that's still a respectable number after 67 ranked games this season. Funny part about it actually is like they are posting really well. They were previously a diamond player in season 5, 4, and 3. Actually, 2 and 1. So really big improvement for them getting that high on the Conqueror list, especially for someone that seems to tend to lean more into team rank play. And more villagers shifting across. I love this play actually out of Nev because you can still transition to full land with TCs back here. It's a good idea to set up landmarks over here anyway, just because if you get rushed in this area, it means it's not GG because you'll have a second base on the other shore. Looks like Iskall, the cavalry coming out from Mr. Munch. Meanwhile, it is going to be that TC to the bottom side from Numidan, so he is going to flesh out a bit as expected here. And we are seeing similar from Beast in terms of span, right? His TC quite far away from his primary also to secure some golden stone. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a third TC down here on the berries, gold, and stone as well. Just kind of essentially creates the borders of the Byzantine Empire, right? He's already doing that with the wall ups here as well. So realizing there might be some risk. Small gap that I don't think Beast... He has scattered that, but hasn't walled it off. A little bit surprising by that. I'm sure that'll get fixed soon once the wheelbarrow is in and he has a little bit more wood to work with. Meanwhile, for Voldemar, it's got to be said, this is not a great position. He's stuck in the center with a ball for company. He's at least got one relic that he can instantly yoink once he techs up. Has secured a second with this outpost placement. So in that regard, not bad. Also an outpost, the relic down here that he could grab. Look at this. Someone would forget, like, we're in a free-for-all, sure, but this is Jeanne D'Arc time. Which means that Numidan wants blood. Understandably so. Jeanne really is propelled by her ability to keep up on levels. So Numidan doesn't want to wait around. Instantly snipes down one of the villagers. Someone else that's crazy here, by the way, is the fact that he went for Hunter Jeanne. We rarely ever see this, but I quite like it in this game. I think you know there's going to be a lot of wall attempts far away from safety. So if you're able to get out early like this and you're able to snipe him out, it's just free kills. And that means more XP. I also think like getting into late game Jeanne via Hunter mode is pretty cool because like her Castle Age form does, I think it's 18 damage base. And remember, these Divine Arrows do scale. So right now it'd be 40 damage. I think it goes up to 60 or 65, something like that. And then I think it goes up to 100 or 140. So it does get pretty bloody strong. I do think overall Hunter mode still needs a buff of some kind. I know everyone's quickly just yelling nerf Jeanne, but let's be totally real. Even if you feel like Jeanne needs to be nerfed right now, I think we can also agree that Hunter Jeanne is the most redundant form of Jeanne. We're seeing it in this game because it's a free-for-all, but especially in 1v1s, even in team games, it always just feels inferior to the woman at arms. One thing I would say, one improvement I would give across this unit to make it better, why does she move slower than someone in armor? That to me never made sense. I get it's because archers are meant to be able to attack easier than a melee unit, but the reality of what you've done there is you're just guaranteed no one's going to play Hunter. I think I've seen one Hunter game at high-level play. Did not end very well for Puppy Paw. Wall's not complete here, so it looks like the Kremlin did block out some of this. I think Nev should try to just wall around this to play it safe here. I mean, I don't expect Kazi Johan to harass him anytime soon, but considering he's already up in the castle age, he will eventually become a threat. It's like Jeanne. Where is she right now? Is she peeled back entirely? Yeah, she's just burning through the walls into Voldemar's base. That's just vicious, man. And in the meantime, it's not just one hero unit, it's 2 hero units that BC has to contest with, as Coring Castle Age has moved in with a Khan. I have a feeling some people are going to get permed after this game. People saying they missed the King mod, I agree. I think King mod gave clearer win conditions. I'm still always a big fan of the idea that what Mega Random Free-For-All needs is cleaner central win conditions to force people out of camping. That's why I love to host community games where we play with the countdown timer, where any progress you make on the sacred site is saved and stored when you go back on it again. Because that forces people to come and play the game or lose. Other than that, hero units, pretty cool solution. I do think that the Drongo Outback Octagon mod set was kind of problematic, and then it led to these snowbally games where comeback was almost impossible. So I kind of understand why people didn't like playing that much past the tournament. But definitely the idea of some assassination win condition, different options is a good idea. Wow. Talking about options, talking about expanding the horizon. Wow. Don Artie plays far out on the edge of the map after realizing his position is bad. I mean, right now, folks, there's this classic saying let's go for, meat in the sandwich. You never want to be meat and sandwich whether you're playing a BR or a free-for-all. Right? If you're playing Apex Legends, meat in the sandwich bad. You're playing Warzone, meat in the sandwich bad. You're playing Mega Random Free-for-all, meat in the sandwich is bad. Time to go vegan and get out while you can. So Don Artie removes himself from the equation, realizing eventually he is going to get pinned. Because both of these players need this space, especially the French player. He's playing into these deposits on the gold and the stone. I'm expecting a keep drop very soon out of Mr. Munch that's going to boot Don Artie out entirely. On the other side, luckily for Don, he might be able to fight against it because for the time being, Voldemar cannot contest. Voldemar has other things to be worried about. He's wooing himself in now because to the south, he has to worry about Numidan, and to the east, he has to worry about Beastie. A little bit of trade over here. Looks like Beastie coming in with the Kershiks now, just trying to scare away the Khan. Right now, this Khan is confused. The betrayals. What the hell? People ask me, what is the pink monument? You mean the landmark? He went for the Guildhall. So he's playing Guildhall. Makes a lot of sense in this game. Honestly, I'm never really expecting to see someone in a free-for-all go Royal Institute. There's no value behind it. Oh, the TC monument. Oh, he's got the dragon one, right? I think a lot of players still use that, no? We've got Golden Boat, Golden Boat. Are people just big boat fans? Numidan. Oh, wait. Here we go. Golden Boat. Wait, have we got all Golden Boats? Bar one? Oh, no. Okay, Voldemar's looks sick, by the way. Can we just agree on that? That's a Sons Ascend one, I think. That looks absolutely dope. Beastie, what's he gone for? He's gone for the Gargoyle, because he's always on high ground watching. Cool. Boat. Dude, we got a lot of boat lovers in this game. Not seen it before? I think everyone was... correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Was this the reward for Season 3 or 4? I think it's 4. I remember a lot of players used this for a time, and then I guess a lot of them shifted away. Anyway, looking elsewhere for the war. Dude, this guy is just running around in circles. I mean, Beastie, he knows at least the Khan can't attack anything else, which means he can just keep eco-booming up as much as he chooses. It's going to be Golden Horn Tower on the way, so not playing into the system of the first hill. Shocker, surprise, who would have expected that one of the worst landmarks in the entire expansion doesn't get used. How are we looking elsewhere? We have got the Astronomical Clock Tower, so it might be the green starts denting into orange soon. Orange has to be a little bit worried about Numidan behind him. Like, Numidan, the issue you have when you're playing against Jeanne in free-for-alls is you might think you have peace, but if she sees an opportunity to milk a bunch of XP, she'll attack. She will always attack, because although she won't be able to end the game, she gets a very clear advantage out of just sniping some of your eco down. For the time being, though, Numidan continues to be a thorn in the side over here. He actually does get rid of the Khan for Beastie. And interestingly enough, is going to back out for the time being. So a little bit paranoid about approaching further. Kaiser Johann, in the meantime, has gone all the way up into Imperial Age. So they are now ready with the High Armory. They are pumping into Men-at-Arms. Elite Men-at-Arms plus Siege could be a sick combo here. And keep in mind, they can afford this due to all the fishing they've got. Fishing that will never truly run out. Because I think he's got about, I want to say this is 8 or 9 deep water fish. So a healthy amount to work with there. Not as much as green. Nothing's going to beat green here. This is just absurd. If I had to estimate the amount of deep water fishes, I imagine we are looking at 20. Close to 20. Because he's got a few up here as well. People highlighting the trade? Yep. Hey, look at that. The Mongols are trading, and nobody is doing anything about it. I don't think this is going to last for Core, though, because one thing I'm looking at is Beastie to the right. Now that the walls are up and Numidan isn't aggroing him, once these stone walls are up, I think he's going to go after Core. Beastie knows that the two biggest threats in the late game here are realistically going to be the Chinese and the Mongols. Right? He can't do anything on the Chinese. They're on the opposite side of the map, but he can sure as hell do something about Mongols. Mongols that are likely to get distracted considering where Don's located and also where Mr. Munch is. Numidan also adding an additional TC, so now up to 4. Cool thing about doing this with the French or with Jeanne is the landmark gives you the same thing. Once you go Imperial, you drop the Red Palace. These are all discount TCs. Discount keeps, rather. Little baby keeps, if you will. I say baby keeps, but they sure don't punch like one. Those Arbalest emplacements are frustrating, and also even more frustrating, Voldemar, he's being dove now. This is problematic. I imagine Jean must be getting close to the level 3 with these type of trades happening over here. In fact, we can switch over for Numidan's view, and there it is. Tech upgrade comes out. So level 3, mounted archer mode. 18 damage per shot coming out from this bad boy. Bad girl, rather. On top of that, it is 100 damage. Yes, that's right. So it's 45, 100, and I think it's 145 or 160. It scales pretty damn well, but if you consider how much damage you can do against a group of enemies with the cleave, it makes sense why Divine Arrow does this much. Another cool detail for you guys. You know you can use Divine Arrow on buildings, right? Rarely is it going to be worth it, but I guess theoretically, if you caught someone at the beginning of a building with your max level Divine Arrow, you could just deny the building. I think the threshold, if I'm not, is it 100 or 200 HP? If it's 100, it's snipeable. It's 200, you need something else. But just a funny little detail there. So it looks like Numidan, happy with the damage he's done, is going to back away here. Voldemar has got the keeps up to defend him in this area. TCs are a bit too annoying to dive. And man, I kind of feel bad for Voldemar right now. The way he set up the keeps, the way he's forced to by Donati, means he didn't set up any for his flank. Ironically, although the Mongols are to the north, it's the south player that's playing like the Mongols. In the essentially, Numidan is coming in, raiding you, taking what he wants, and leaving every few years. There's not really much that Voldemar can do about that right now. I mean, if Numidan was being attacked by another player, it would be different. But currently, Kaiser Johann, I don't know if him and Numidan have a treaty, but they don't seem to want to fight. And I love that we've been consecrating on the TCs. It just means you're able to pump those villagers at a cheaper price. It definitely adds up over the course of the game. Also did prioritize the stables. So we are getting TCs from Donai. Okay, can we just agree, actually, that does look sick on the hill? That looks so dope on the hill. The way it flattened it, and the nice little mott around it. This looks sick. Wait, what happened to the walls, though? Done? The reason I was chuckling, by the way, is because this is classic Don. He chooses a bad location. He migrates halfway across the map. He then migrates halfway across the map again. If Core ever gets killed, mark my words, Don is going to be here. Maybe even here. I call it the Donati special at this stage. Maybe you call it the Don Party, because he always has to part with his base. Well, back of the Byzantine base, we are getting the foreign engineering company, so interesting idea here. One annoying thing I think for Beastie is because he hasn't got a trade post that's reachable, he can't play into these neutral units. I'm actually a really big fan. If you want to play Byzantines into late game, especially in free-for-alls, guys, find the trade post with camels, grab the trade post with camels. Unless you want to go into the contract, which actually, I don't think he did, right? Wait, he went for the... It wasn't the Silk Road, it was the Eastern, so I think he does have them. Oh, no, right, that's right. It's the Silk Road that has camels. That's a shame. If he'd gone for the Silk Road, he'd have access to camels. The reason that's a really big deal, and why I'm making it out as if it's the end of the world, is you're missing out on the infantry support that gives +2 armor to all your infantry units. So the reason that's so important is when you get into that hyper late game with the Byzantines, you play unlimited Limitane, or as I like to call it, Unlimitane, and then you support it with the camels. And the reason you do this is with Shield Wall, 50% of the range damage is removed, and then you can remove an extra 5 damage. So think about that from a Streltsy perspective as an example. We can check them down here. These Streltsys hit really hard, right? They hit for 42 damage. If you're pumping Limitane against this, their damage gets reduced to 21, and then it gets reduced to 16. Charge in over here. It looks like... Oh, come on! Core's not going to do it, right? There's no way. Dude, that is so cheeky by Beastie. He dragged him across until he found another player and then tried to force an engagement. Core, very smart choice to back away here. The reason, by the way, is that if Core starts fighting with Donati, I mean, one, this is just cruel. Donati is like the weakest player in this game right now, next to Nev. But Nev has kind of feigned weakness. He's actually quite strong. Don is the worst off player right now. In fact, look, he's got a bunch of villages, he doesn't know what to do with them. So, it's mean enough for that reason, but the reason it's very important that Core didn't take that fight is the time it would have taken him to finish off Don up here would have bought time for Beast to send in a second wave and kill the trade. So, it's actually very smart by Core not getting baited and coming back to defend. Especially when you know Beastie's building up a premium army. Nesta Bees, a lot of Limitane. A lot of players now reaching into Imperial Age. It's just Voldemar remaining behind here. He's had a hard time of it, though. This is like that kingdom you see in those great epic fantasy tales that seems really solid. Everyone likes them until the war pops off, and then they're the first to get torn into pieces because they had the center lands. Loads of farms. Feels like it could feed the world, but the moment the die are rolled and things get hard, everyone is going to crush you first. Guess it's just being a little bit annoying here. I mean, BC, it's not a hard commitment over this area. Don did find his way out here, so Sneaky Goose gets out unscathed. Villagers are relocating north side. He's going to want to think about going for some stone walls. He has actually got the outcropping up here to afford that. I think that's the #1 play here. Just secure like this area to the tree line here, then around, just so that you don't have to worry about a flood of cav into your main economy. Looks like the timing was perfect, really. Like, considering that the base is getting smaller and smaller. Especially when you've got to worry about that red pass, it means that you have got these Arbalest emplacements in the TCs, which just destroy you. Not as much as they used to, mind you, right? 40 damage on the Arbalest is not that 62 you get out of the primary. Sorry, 60 without any upgrades. I'm used to 62 at this stage. Interesting that he parked at south side, so a little bit paranoid about Green's activities. Makes a lot of sense right now. The way that Nev has played this, they haven't really built a secondary base over here, so it's all in on the center. I'm very surprised by this, actually. The fact that Nev, now even building the Imperial Palace over here, bare minimum, I would have said Imperial Palace could have maybe been over here. Maybe he wants it for the vision, but I hope this does mean Nev is going to be saving one of his Imperial landmarks elsewhere. Going for the Spirit Way, it should be over here, so you can't be landmark sniped. Calming moment in the game. How's Donati looking? That's so fucking so. He's got 74 people working on wood right now. Donati looking for a new career as a carpenter. By comparison, 46 for the Byzantines at the very corner. Kind of surprised he's taking the safest wood first, but I think it makes a lot of sense when you remember what this is for Beastie. This is him setting up a corner for a wonder victory further down the line. Meanwhile, Don already has his, right? Like, nice little pop spot here, but you're going to have to be careful about the way you defend it as it opens up very fast. And also, you know, let's be totally fair here. Don is not getting a wonder this game. Let me put it another way. Don is not getting a wonder this game. That's right. Price does scale based on players. 8,000 of each is not easy for a guy who barely has any stone access on the map. He maybe has half that. And that would be if he just goes for the wonder and nothing else. The person who might consider going for it eventually would be cool, right? If he gets enough outposts, if he gets enough room. Voldemort also now shifting north side, by the way, with a lot of villages. I don't know how he keeps sneaking out. I wonder if Core is agreeing to let people leave or something. You know, just right now, storing them all like Pokemon and Pokeballs, sticking them on his belt up in this corner. When it comes time to trade, he's hoping for more than just an Onyx. Meanwhile, base of Voldemort. Looks like it's a perfect time to move out because Beastie has moved in. I mean, we always knew this was coming, right? The gold is in the center. Voldemort had a terrible position. This is another reason why players don't take central positions. And it's another reason why I think there needs to be something more beneficial to doing that, right? Because otherwise, what reason does someone ever have to come to center a map? You can argue that you'll be near the relics, you'll be near the sacred sites, but I mean, that doesn't sound like an upside if my base is dead halfway through the game. Mr. Munch, how we looking? There's a lot of hesitation from each of these players right now. Knight count is high, so Munch looking to make a move. Kremlin's already down, so has free access. Remember, Kaiser Johann didn't go for the Spasskaya, so no stone walls, no strong defenses right now. In fact, there's a realistic opportunity to just landmark snipe him here. The TC's already down. I think Mr. Munch is going to go for it. I mean, this dock is pointless, right? Taking this out is not going to change anything because fishing will always continue. He's playing as the Rus. But if he floods through right now with these knights, I actually think Kaiser Johann's dead. Army's now marching back as he realizes what's happening here. So retreating away from Numidan as he just shoved him out of this area. Did take down the red pass as well. But Numidan, is he going to engage with this? His army is pitifully small. And it looks like Mr. Munch is just going to hang around for the gold and not get greedy. But Green denies that. Nev riding out now and pushing back against this. He has got that Yuan Dynasty, right? So a lot faster with the cavalry, a lot faster with most of his units in general. It's very hard for a flank attack to happen. Mr. Munch will just back away. That was important, though, actually. That just dragged Orange all the way back across his base, which stopped Numidan from being pushed into, which is important because Numidan's base does not look very impressive. People highlighting Wonder. We haven't got Wonder yet. We're far away from that. You're jumping the gun, my friend. You do not build a Wonder when there are 8 players in the game still. You build a Wonder typically when there's around 4 or 5, depending on their position. Building it against 8 is suicide. Remember, it's 15 minutes you'd have to hold. And they might have to scramble past each other to get in, but unless you've got some ridiculous spawn on the map, it's not something you really rush towards here. In fact, if we look at the resource bank, BC not even holding a lot of stone in reserve, right? He needs to find more stone if he wants to ever target that win condition. Donati. Well, fully fledged farms now, right? Pretty much everything he needs here. 46 people on farms. So the last of his base is going to be reduced to rubble. I say that. He's been allowed to exist, actually. Which is pretty good for him because he's taking a vital resource. This is a lot of gold in the center he's just winning into. And Core might be first to Wonder. I think if Core wanders from this position, he has a Death Wish. Like, you know, there is taking a chance, and then there is essentially just putting all your money on 0 on the roulette table. Actually, no, that's unfair, because then you have, like, a small chance of winning. This is the equivalent of just setting fire to all your chips. I don't expect Core to Wonder anytime soon, even more so with what's happening up here. Voldemort snuck his Imperial landmark to the north. So you've got Don and Voldemort behind you. You've got Beastie to the easty. And then to the south, you're going to have Mr. Munch and maybe even Numidan shuffling through. So this is definitely not a world in which Core is thinking Wonder is my win condition. It would be complete and utter Sudoku. I know I say that wrong. It's a meme. I just realized recently I don't know. Is that like a Dota meme? I think that's a Dota meme from Sing Sing. So whenever I say it in Age of Empires, people think I just don't know how to say seppuku. No, it's Sudoku. 7 Nestabis here. That is a lot of knights. 69, the glorious number. Nestabis are not attacking right now. Nev finally realizes it. Is going to let out a flurry here, so that is going to force a back away here by Pink. Mr. Munch moving towards that red pass, though. A very difficult thing to dive, but he ends up leaving behind the cannons. So, decent exchange so far. Nev needs to be careful. A lot of spearmen are going to start falling as he dives under this keep. A keep But it's fully protected right now. Knights able to flesh out here with the Royal Bloodlines. More than an easy matchup for the Knights against those spears. I mean, this is only Yuan. If this was Ming, maybe the spearmen a bit harder, but I don't think you really ever trade over for that. SBs just need a good shot. I actually think Green might lose this right now. This is kind of concerning. Trebs are trying to siege into the Red Palace, but that's not enough pressure right now. And instead, Green loses the entire army. Nev, mistakes made here. I mean, he's got 57 military, but you wouldn't believe it right now. On the front side of this fight, it just looks bad. And a lot of that military is locked in the nest of bees. That's why it looks like he's still got a standing army. He just hasn't, though. Mr. Munch is about to munch down. Pink marching in with still 50 knights to work with here. This flood through could do a lot of damage. Now, keep in mind, he can't stop the food income of Nev, but he can block wood, he can block gold. And he can make Green black out. Because Trebs are going to be found. The flood through is going to continue. Farms on the backside, there's not many of them to worry about. He's trying to set up some walls now, but that is not the way. Stone wall on Palisade do not interact well. The dive-throughs continue. Now, remember, this is just wave number 1 for Mr. Munch. Unless Mr. Munch gets harassed elsewhere, he's going to have all of his attention on this. Houses were being burnt in the meantime by Core. Not really sure what the goal there was. Maybe he's trying to keep everyone alive. Maybe Core is our secret protector, right? He doesn't want anyone to die in the game. Well, it looks like Mr. Munch is trying to disappoint. I don't think he's alone in that. Numidan, how are we looking on this south side? So he's going to start rebuilding the Red Palace. He's moving out for the gold here. Orange is now reflecting that move with his army. Kaiser Johann hasn't really taken many losses. He's just kept a very sizable, very scary force here that no one really seems to want to contest. Understandably so. Like, that's a lot of Streltsy, a lot of Bombards, a lot of Mangoes. Everything kind of answered right now. So unless you can get some assistance or maybe a flank attack going, I don't see Numidan fighting this anytime soon. In fact, Numidan, although he is an imp, this has felt like a really weak imp game from him. 79 military, but we haven't really seen a fight that's gone his way so far. I think we missed one off screen that he outright lost to Kaiser Johann. Bombards instantly getting rid of that Red Palace. Numidan now only queuing up his university techs. If I'm not mistaken, that problem has already been ticked for Kaiser Johann. He's got everything he needs. He's got the gunpowder. He's got the elite army tactics. And he's going to look to yeet this army out of this position. Pretty cool play there. You saw that with Springwood, by the way. Springwoods aren't that bad at dealing with Jeanne once she reaches level 4. But we're not there yet. Keep that in mind. Like, once you do reach level 4 with the banded arms, I actually think that the Russo is surprisingly effective up against level 4 Jeanne. Because when you hit level 4, she's no longer a light range cavalry unit. She becomes a siege unit. Which means she takes that extra 90 damage. Meantime, village is going to be chased down. Another reminder about that type of damage as well. I'd have to double check this. Maybe someone in chat knows, because I haven't been paying attention to the numbers on the health bar specifically when I've seen this. Springald damage is ranged, so my assumption is the bonus damage, I think it goes through reductions, right? Actually, no, it doesn't. I think it's reduced. So level 4 Jeanne should take 66% less damage. So in the end, I think the Springald should do about, they should do 34 damage, right? Actually, then you've got to consider range. So it's more like 30 damage. The difference is if you play Bombards or Culverins, I believe they are classified fully as Siege, which means that that is essentially full damage going into Jeanne. Because remember, she gets the damage reduction against ranged attacks. If I can find it, because I'm blind. There you go. Another assault coming in. Is it me, or is the map looking a little less green? And a little more bloody. Mr. Munch chomping away at this base right now. A lot of housing going down. I think that isn't a worry for Nev, because Nev doesn't have enough military to even reach Pop still. But he's at risk. Knights spread out to look for clues. Keep in mind those cannons can move in next onto the gatehouse. And he's already raiding the side, so really there's nothing left in Nev. I think Nev is going to be first person out in this game. It really is a race right now. Kaiser Johann, in the meantime, pushing into Numidan's base, trying to remove him from the equation. Numidan still has a bit of base to work with. However, it could not be a worse time for him. The Byzantines have arrived. Beastie says this is for that one villager building that wall that you killed 30 minutes ago. Oh, dude, that pressure just reducing his control, reducing his numbers. Right now, Numidan has no gold access to speak of. He's limited on every front here. And considering the comp he's building, that's not going to cut it. Because he's going to need a lot more arbaletier to fight this army. I mean, realistically, he needs horsemen. Farm's going down fast, though. might hamper his ability to get into them. Streltsy able to hold in these choke points. Springel's looking for the trade out in the meantime, but the rubber banded arms should make it much easier for Kaiser Johan to win that. However, right now, he's not targeting the siege. Finally switches targets. Mango's coming out up against the Arbor Tree. Decimation to the front side. And the Mango's turning around onto the men-at-arms. Streltsy standing on the ground in the meantime. And this is still level 3 Jeanne, almost 40 minutes into the game. Numidan, he's dead. There's no coming back from this right now. Landmarks are going down. That's another one crumbling. Looking at the count, I think it is just School of Cavalry remaining. Yep. One landmark, and then Numidan is gone. And Kaiser Johan knows it. So GG to Numidan. He's going to be the first player eliminated here. Next up might be Nev. Nev, who is now losing a lot of his structures. TC is down. Astronomical Clock Tower, Imperial Palace, and Barbican all gone alongside the Great Wall Gatehouse. He leaves Death 2 Taxes till last. I believe that is the last landmark of Nev, so goodbye to Green. He does outlast a comp player. Numidan is a pro-level player, so lasting a little bit longer, but still coming in 7th. And not just that, check this out, Voldemar died on the north! Oh, Don! Don and Core came in to kill off Voldemar. So just like that, 3 players now removed from the chessboard. And we have 5 left over. Spread fairly wide as well, like their own dominions here, right? Mr. Munch can now play to the west side of the map. Orange is still secure now fully in the southern corner. BC has the eastern corner. Don, of course, far to the north. Now, the one question mark to me is Core. Core is still a bit meat in the sandwichy, right? Between both Beastie and Donai. This is not exactly what I call an ideal spot to find yourself in. Imagine, it has to be next on the hit list for the two, right? Like, Don now knows that it's him and Core up here. Beastie now knows it's just Core closest by. I mean, it looks like Beastie instead is going to use those Maximus of Tower Elephants, because he did actually go Tower Elephants with the Byzantines to take out the center keeps here. Belong to the English, but if he's planned to go for Don, it's going to be a very wide wrap to get there. Cannons in the meantime. Just going to clean up the keeps over here as well. So the last of the original base for Don is going to be removed. Now, Don did set up 2 landmarks over here, 2 keeps to be specific, so not easy to just kill him out of this game. Kaiser Johan has had a very chill position, though, and I imagine he's going to come pick up these relics. I mean, it's... What, is that 1 or 2? I think there's 2 relics, right? Yeah, second one over here. So 2 relics available to Kaiser Johan. Kaiser Johan, did he pick up any already? Looks like he has got 1, so that's going to be 3 banked for him. Wouldn't even be surprised if he shimmies in over here and yoinks 1 or 2 away from the remains of Nev. But I think Mr. Munch is already, yeah, on his way back with those 2. So well played by him. The winner goes the spoils. This is actually interesting. Mr. Munch's position might have just saved Core from being next target for Beastie. I do think it's worrisome that no one's teaming against Beastie. His base is pretty big, folks. In fact, can we check his bank? Because I've got a sneaking suspicion. You know what that looks like to me? That looks like someone who really likes the idea of wonders. And we did talk about this area. By the way, I love the fact that Beastie left the trees alive in this area. I like how I said alive, like, no, please don't kill me. But he leaves them alive and creates choke points so that he can wall these off. And now it's going to be much harder for someone to make that final breach in towards where the wonder's going to be. Meanwhile, we have got a good position back here if Kaiser Johan clears some space. I actually think Johan might have the best spot if he clears the space here. Like, look at the choke points and how far out they are. It's very hard to rush through them, right? Problem is, Kaiser Johan's bank is kind of pitiful in comparison, right? Not as much gold, barely any stone. Not looking like the guy who's going to go for a wonder victory. Mr. Munch, his position isn't great for it either. He could eventually just retract back here. He's actually got an insane amount of food and gold. If you can fix the wood and stone and, like, cut into this tree line, it's a perfect position back here for him. But that's a very long-term plan. The other player who does have a great position for a wonder is, of course, Donati up here near the Berkshire, but he needs more keeps. He might have bigger problems in the meantime because Mr. Munch is marching north. So it looks like there was a bit of typing going on. I don't know. That seems a bit suspicious, the way that purple and pink rather backed away from each other. So I guess they just done a bit of diplomacy, said let's not kill each other yet. Instead, Pink is marching north and Don, 55 military. This is scary. He's actually outnumbered. Yeah, 69 from Mr. Munch because he knows his numbers. And those are knights. Knights that will just tear these spearmen apart because Donati still doesn't have elite spearmen. Upgrades coming through soon, but another landmark removed, and he only has one remaining in the back corner. And it's, of course, the Berkshire. How the hell has Core not been attacked yet? I'm really kind of confused by the fact that no one wants to deal with the Mongol trading. I guess it's because... Oh my dear God. Oh my God. 22 mangonels. You know, I heard a tale about a guy who ate too many fruits and died. I wonder if that's going to be core in this game, because that's a lot of mango for one day. 23. What the hell is this army? 65 eco and total. I mean, if he loses this army, he's actually dead. And he's dove into Mr. Munch's base. Mr. Munch is on his way home as well. And he's hungry. Oh, that's so many knights. I mean, even with the hand cannoneers here, how do you protect this many mangoes? I don't think you do. And he just took his shot. He needs to turn for another fire here. Charge comes in from the knights and the splintering begins. Mr. Munch looking to gobble it all down. Teal about to lose over half of the siege. Core, a gluttonous boy, pays the price. Oh my God. Half the mangoes are already gone. Now, the knights are dead, but folks, a lot less siege. He might need that siege to deal with these keeps. Remember, these are red pass keeps. So instead, Mr. Munch will reform the lines. What a delicious battle here. Oh, you know what the crazy part is as well? I think Pink could have got more of these mangoes, because when he charged in, he immediately A-clicked them all to stop them from lancing. If he'd actually let them lance wave after wave on different mangoes, so basically the first wave hits the initial mangoes, then you pull them back, new wave comes in, I think he would have killed almost all of these. Maybe 5 would have been remaining for Core. And Core, now with the transition to Rams. I say transition to Rams at 45 minutes, but welcome to late game AoE 4, baby. And look at this, oh my God. Oh, the pain, dude. Mr. Munch. He got convinced to go north by Beastie, presumably. And because he nibbled at Donati, Donati was not happy. He now has shut down the farms of Mr. Munch, and Mr. Munch being 2v1'd. And where is Beastie? Where is he? Where do you think Beastie is right now after, you know, he manages to convince this aggro to go elsewhere? He's sitting at home with 1,000,000 wolves. Oh, come on. I don't know how it is that Beastie manages to so often do this. I don't know if there was typing going on. I wouldn't be surprised if there was. It looks like Corey is now going to lose out on the remaining mangoes, but hand cannons are still a problem. I actually think that's all the cav dead, and if I'm not mistaken, okay, Mr. Munch, not running out of food anytime soon. However, long-term, he's in trouble. Because his farms are being shut down, and also he now has the attention, the ire of 2 players. Mangoes do survive for Core, a few of them at least. 41 hand cannoneers still, so it's going to be a reset as Mr. Munch needs to reform the lines. But now he has to fight on 2 fronts. The walls aren't being breached, Red is getting deeper and deeper into the kingdom, and Mr. Munch did set up all of his landmarks in one location here. Meanwhile, clash on the south side looks like it's going to be Beastie versus Kaiser Johann. And remember, mangoes are actually probably one of the best answers to Mass Limitane in the late game, because mangoes do siege damage, which means that the ranged reduction you get from shield wall doesn't affect mangoes. Speaking of mangoes, more of them coming out, this time with the floating bombards, because heresy is allowed. Bombards that are going to start breaching these keeps, and it looks like the army is distracted. Mr. Munch having to engage with Donai, but that is going to be spearmen and hand cannoneers, the worst possible comp from to be charging into. Men-at-arms as well, just everything. Able to just kind of defend this, right? Stop it, hold it in the choke points to make sure the hand cannoneers stay alive long enough to trade out the knights. 20 and decreasing. And it looks like most of the melee is going to die for Red, but Donati still has all these hand cannoneers. I think that's about 40 almost. Yeah, 32. So push through. Mr. Munch also being pushed on the right side. Kurotai now coming in with the bombards means this is over. Say farewell to Mr. Munch because there is nothing left of him at this stage. He has got this back spawn of stables and farms, but all of his landmarks, guys, that's all that matters here. Landmarks for the win. The march gets ever deeper. Meanwhile, Southside, it does look like Kazuyohan has pushed up since his victory in that fight. And wait, has he found a gap? No. This is cute, but actually you still have a lot of walls to deal with, Kazuyohan. It's a cute idea, but you've realistically just butted yourself up and slipped through the crack to still have to go through about 1 million walls. By the way, guess what? I want numbers. Chat. Beastie, how much resource does he have saved up? Raw number, like if you put all the numbers together, how many thousands? Let's see how well you know Beastie. We're 49 minutes into a game. He had to kill a few players. I mean, he had a little bit of warfare, but mostly unharassed. I'll give you guys about 30 seconds more to guess, because I'm going to say probably 40k. Actually, he hasn't fought that much recently. Well, he just lost an army, had to reproduce. So like 40k seems reasonable to me. You ready? In food, maybe. Oh, who was I kidding? Of course it was going to be closer to 100. Jesus. He has 98,000 resources. No, guys. Olive oil counts as well. Oh my god. He has... Let's just spend some, in fairness. About 108,000 resources. Good God. Looks like he lost an army there. I think actually, did he delete villagers? Maybe. He's down to 124. That reeks of like a Beastie play, right? Usually Beastie tends to go up to 160 eco in free-for-alls. Keep enough military to fight, but get enough eco to win the attrition. And the walls are going up. I know what we're heading towards here, folks. He does need to buy more stone. He needs to find more to gather. And that's why this group of villagers are still alive. Just try and take whatever resources are left. And he shows up to start taking gold away from Kazuyohan. The best part about this many villagers, he's actually going to take all the gold. Instead, he will take out that wooden fortress, though. Spillman placements coming in, but it's too late for that, Johan. He has got troops responding to this. I think it, like, in some ways it's better if BC just gathers as much of this gold so that Kazuyohan doesn't have it. And there we go. So he's got wheelbarrow, right? So he's going to get 14. And although the villagers are dying, guys, they are taking a lot of gold away from this. Meanwhile, main army of Kazuyohan continues on. I don't know how it is he's the only one who sees the real threat. Because right now, Core is about to finish off Mr. Munch. Final landmark goes down. As all French have been eliminated from the game. And now you guys are in trouble because this is a 3v1. And I wouldn't be surprised if BC is already looking to buy up the stone. In fact, is there any stone left on the map here? I think it's all been depleted. There's wait, no, there's some back here. Johan, well, he left rubble. So there's only about 500 stone left there. I don't think there's any more. So 500 plus not, yeah. So it's about 500, 600 stone total collective left on the map. So BC's going to have to do some buying. Dude, this, oh my god, the tower elephants. Like, come on, what's going on here? Nest of bees! Okay, good counter-offensive there. The mangoes get the better side of the trade. However, the tower elephants are the key detail that matters here. They do get in. They do find the mangoes. And folks, those are crossbows on top, which means they hit pretty bloody hard. So pretty much the entire army traded out. BC's got to be happy with that. It means that Johan now doesn't have a forward force. No easy way of contesting. He's going to try with the remaining Streltsy, but that's pretty much a throwaway, and I think he knows it. So tough game right now. If Johan's the only one going after BC, I mean, the two players you have to be concerned about is BC and Donai. So choose one and attack. This guy right here, I might attack him. If I was Core, I might try to convince someone to come help. Because the issue with Don right now is he's saved so much stone up. He has 12,000 stone. That's enough to start building walls and keeps for days. And still have enough for the wonder. In fact, for now, the Rams are moving south. I wonder what this is about from Don. Don hasn't been down here before, right? Yeah, so, interesting. Don's checking if there's anyone back here. He also might try to move it. Nah, you can't. Even if you built a wonder here, your landmarks are elsewhere, so you're kind of locked in with your positioning here. This is another reason, by the way, why you can't allow Chinese or Juji to get into the late game, because they hold onto landmarks so that they can drop them in beneficial locations after the dust is settled. Any other civ in the game, they have to commit their landmarks so you know where they are. Marching from course. So this is going to now be 2 versus Beastie. Donarty's not getting involved, though. And keep in mind that, well, Beastie's already pushed one player away. So the army for Kazi Johan's not going to be there in time. This is just... Oh, God. This is going to be one of those games. It is, isn't it? This is going to be the Lemmings approach, which we've seen before, and it never beats Beastie, where you come in one by one. You need to be coming in together from different angles. Ankan Nizamango's coming in. Limitane on the backstab, though. He's going to pack up, look to move away. Beastie with a quick gap close might be able to yoink a few of the siege weapons here. In fact, the bombards get wheeled back towards him, but unfortunately the aid clicks in the wrong place there. So Beastie needs to get an army to give a stat. Has got the Nester Bees and the Strills on the backside. Remember, this push-in is not supported by anti-siege, so Core could easily lose all these Mangos and the bombers. Notice Donarty is still not participating. I wonder why the guy with almost 8,000 gold and 12,000 stone might not be participating. Anyone in chat can think of a reason why? Like, I really am wondering what might keep him. What monumentous occasion might stop him? The saintly Donarty. So saintly that he's on par with St. Thomas. Wait a second. Has Core realized he's kind of being bamboozled here? Because if he pushes into the Byzantines too much, there's going to be a landmark on the other side. There's going to be a Wonder Rub on the other side. I kind of feel bad right now, actually, for Core. And yo, dude, look at the gold reinvestment from BC. That's everything. Did he buy the stone? Is that what happened here? I'm trying to figure out where his gold went. I mean, Sprues cost a little bit, but not this much. And remember, these Nester Bees, they are built with olive oil. He had well over 8k gold before, so that just evaporated. God damn. And I mean, he has no way of getting gold now, so his only option is to try and trade food for gold, but you're in a game with 4 other players. At this stage, if I check that marketplace, I guaranteed food is worth nothing. Yep. 20 gold. Damn, this is a rough game. I'm really kind of perplexed as to where all that gold went. Huh. Maybe he didn't have all his upgrades yet. That's a possibility. So maybe I had to go back for them. Because he wasn't building Varangian. He wasn't building Cataphracts. Like, there's no unit he's been building. Sure, he built Springolds, but, I mean, 7 Springolds? That's 250 gold each. It doesn't really explain 8k plus being missing. Maybe it was all the siege upgrades, like greased axles and whatnot. So, rewall's complete. Core, is he still going to keep pushing this? I actually think Beastie might die at this rate. I mean, Core's the one with a more impressive bank here. Like, his food number isn't as good, but it's the gold that matters. I have this weird, instinctive feeling that it was him, but yeah, he bought the stone. Oh my god, I think he held the D key. Now, guys, this is why sometimes it's not a good idea to hold your D. Because if I'm not mistaken, Beastie bought every piece of stone to get a wonder here. But it meant that he was paying over 500 gold for that stone. And people highlighting he can sell the olive oil. He's already been doing that. It might seem like he's fine because he's got olive oil, but he needs to get gold for that wonder. He also needs to hold this back. Nester Bees being sniped out for the time being. Attack speed arrow is going to come in. The dive is there. Core gets in deep and pushes back against this. Kurultai healing him on the front side as well with the damage buff means it's going to be a consistent dive. Elsewhere on the map, Kazi Johan is on the way. Now, Kazi Johan, he needs to be careful because if he comes back to the same location, he's going to screw over Core. And then they're definitely going to reset this. So I hope he's just going to breach the walls over here and come from a different angle. That would kill Beastie. However, keep in mind, while you're killing Beastie, I know what's happening up here. Something you folks don't due to vision. Donarty. Okay, that is really cool. I haven't seen a player do that before. You guys are seeing this, right? Donate's risk whenever he goes for this wonder, classic one we've seen from many players. You start losing your houses. You get pop caps, you can't build. So to fix that, Don is going to build 21 houses, one extra just to be safe, in this western corner, guaranteeing that he cannot be pop locked. That's really cool. And yes, it is the English colonies. It's disappointing he didn't build 13 houses, or it would have been appropriate. But that's actually smart. I don't think I've seen a single player do that in a free-for-all before. It's a completely unoccupied corner. He has no other reason to play it here. No one else has any reason to play it here, so they'll never be able to snipe out his houses, which is, by the way, a popular play to prevent people rushing wonders when they have this much bank, because it means killing their economy is not going to work, and killing their military, there's just too many buildings. So usually the most efficient play is to take out them houses. Cool, continue the push. A big dent at the front of BC's base here. Has got a lot of production on the south side, so it's not going to drain up anytime soon. It seems nobody trusts Beastie. Okay, guys, here's how this went down. I'm guaranteeing it. I can sense it. The comms were as followed. Who just brought all the stone? Question mark. Question mark. Not me, said Core. I think Beastie. Johan says, not me, I'm Roos. Not sure what that's meant to be in that situation, but at that stage, they nod, they accept it, and they both agree it's Beastie. Beastie, I think he jumped the gun and bought the stone a bit too quick here. It kind of gave it away, right? When the stone is up to costing over 600 gold each. Especially when you remember that one of these civs, one of the 4 remaining civs can't buy stone, right? The Mongols can't. They're prevented from doing it. So that would have left one of 3 players. Now, I don't see a world in which Johan would have done it. I don't think they believe Johan would have done it. So it literally comes down to either Don done it or Beastie done it. And if Core is the person here who's deciding it, he's going to say, okay, actually, I've seen both players' bases. Beastie has not been hurt. Don had to migrate from the center. So Beastie's a bigger threat. So logically, they choose the pile on here, but Kaiser Johan backs away. And that means that Beastie is now gaining ground into Core's territory, at least temporarily. Beastie still able to survive, though. I don't know how you kill him one-on-one with this setup right now. Like, if Kaiser Johan doesn't want to commit, instead, if he just keeps running into Core's army and then they just trip over each other saying, pardon me, this game is never going to end. Has to at some point, though. Maybe Don can be the one to deliver us. He has got the stone required. And remember, he's playing English, so he's been just generating infinite gold off of these farms. But he buys his time. And oh my god. Wait. Is Johan going after Core or after Don? Have they agreed to attack Artie instead? Wait, it's Beastie. Classic. I'm just going to wall myself in, guys. Nothing happening here. Leave me be. Wasn't ever here. People so scared to hide in the corners. Oh my god. I mean, this is tough. So let's break this down, what Johan's thought process is. If they kill Beastie and Don wonders, it is much harder to reach Don's base than it is to reach Beastie's base from their position. I think that's their thought process here, is actually, you know, if they don't go after Don, and they do eliminate Beastie in a 2v1 where Johan's proxy base is close to Beastie's, it's so far to reach the English. And also, in fairness, if you had to choose between a civ to try and dent, right, if you thought, which civ is harder to breach in the late game? Is it Byzantines or is it English? People are going to say English. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that between the mangonel outposts and also the olive oil treatment with Nesta bees and choke points. I think there's a fair argument that Byzantines are just as hard, if not harder. But historical data does show English are one of the true powerhouses of the late game in free-for-alls. So it looks like they're a bit freaked out by that. And as a result, they're now marching north. This is tough. If you're Don, do you now just pull the trigger and say, screw it? If this is the way it's going to be, then I'm going to build a wonder? Or do you wait? I think if you're Don and you wait, it's actually, like, it's a bit of a 50-50. Either Core lets Beastie through his lands and they play into this idea that Don's the biggest threat, or Beastie now starts attacking Core, as we're seeing, and all of a sudden you get the space you need. This looks like war. And I can't blame Beastie. I'd be pretty annoyed with what they've been doing to me. I'd be a bit miffed off. So he's going to be starting to dive in towards that economy. Remember, the trade's been going on for a while. How's the numbers looking for Core? Core. Not good. Let's not look at the numbers. So here's the thing, folks. It is trade, but it's like not even half map trade. He's been getting 27 gold this whole time. Oh man, that's not good. I think Core might... Is Core dead? Where is his army right now? He needs to fight right now. He's marching north. He has got 86 hand cannoneers, so the premium army. If this ever gets wiped, Core is out of this game. That's something important to remember here. Now, he's not going to die to Limitane. That's for sure. This unit is not designed to fight hand cannoneers, but it will happily shut down a bit of trade. And this is the crap wave, right? There should be a better wave building behind this. Nested bees being added in. So this is where things get a bit scary for Core, in that if he has to take a fight against Beastie and those nested bees hit, half the hand cannoneers just flop. While that fluid little fight is going on, we are going to see Johan now pushing in. So starting to just dent the infrastructure of Donati. Donati does have plenty of buildings to hide behind here. Wonder when he's going to try to make his strike. I mean, it's so difficult, right? It's 8 mangoes, 11 springolds. Realistically, the only play you maybe have as the English is Mass Horseman here. Anything else just kind of dies. You could go longbows, but it's against mangoes. You can't go springolds because it's against roost springolds. So they have the extra 0.5 tower range. And he's already built into an army of hand cannoneers. Yeah, I think he's going to have to delete. There we go. I just heard the delete go off. So it's going to be Mass Horseman. Don agrees with the read. It's his only way of recovering this. Jesus. They flop dead as quickly as the racks. Quite crafty what Don was doing here, by the way. He's literally just trying to build as much of the map up as infrastructure to create choke points. This was a play that became very popular in free-for-alls, I want to say, towards the tail end of last year especially, when people realized that it creates awkward choke points and makes it easier to tick down that clock. If you remember the very early days of like free-for-alls, people weren't really doing it. They were just setting up their proxy bases, their districts, and getting to the wonders was a bit easier, but all the choke points this creates makes it very hard to flood. Both ways, in fact, because Don is struggling to get through his own buildings, and it means he's actually clambering into the Mangonel's fire. Streltsy, not able to hold this. Horsemen are going to make it to the backside here, so they'll start to snipe out that siege. And just a few of them is also going to take, remember, these are elite horsemen with the attack speed aura, so this flood through looking good. Mango count, not so much. All of them are going to be taken out, and that means that in the trade, hand cannoneer and hand cannoneer, with the cavalry as well, Kaiser Johan is going to lose the army. Great timing there by Don. Critical timing as well. He's starting to lose a lot of infrastructure, which is shrinking his ability to play long with this Wonder at the Deep. But now that he resets Johan like this, it's a long way back from his base. In fact, Johan... Oh, wow. Was that... Did Beastie take those out? Someone took out a bunch of Raxes here, right? So they just got deleted off. So Johan has no type of proxy base whatsoever. He also just lost all the Springolds. Look at the bank for Kaiser Johan. He definitely has enough to reboom that, but now completely out of position. I think if Don wanted to go for the Wonder, this might be the sole best time to do it. Still, both players refuse to blink. In fact, we're going to hit the 2 times here at risk of crashing, because I can feel that this is going to be idle point. Nobody's going to make a move now for at least a minute or two, because the reality of what just happened here, Johan has to rebuild that incredibly expensive army. In the meantime, Core is actually diving him, which is a bit peculiar here. Core's kind of been a weird one in this game. I like it. It's almost the agent of chaos in that he's just attacked everyone, right? Like, you know, he was willing to dent into BC, then he's then willing to go after Numidan, then he's willing to go after Mr. Munch, after Johan. He hasn't had a clear vengeance target. I think the other players have maybe at times been more rigid. BC more or less just waiting for someone to attack him to return fire. How are we looking right now as we get into the tail end of the game? I mean, we've got to be approaching that point where someone just pulls the trigger, right? I'm looking at the outpost spam here. Beastie, he's actually getting additional stone, but it looks like it's going to be Don to go first. So Donati Rushes up the Cathedral of St. Thomas. Can they break him? It took an hour and 8 minutes, but the first wonder has been built. Mark your clocks, folks. If we reach 1 hour and 23 minutes in, it's going to be thumbs up for Don, but it's going to be hard. Plus side for him, there's no proxy base yet for Johan. Johan is on the march to fix that. I have to admit, I did think that Don would have benefited from going for that sooner. If he immediately after clearing up Johan's army, he'd gone for the wonder, much better play. But hindsight is 20/20, and God vision is 40/40. What I mean by that is we could see that Johan had no proxy base. From Don's perspective, it's a risk. He didn't know that Johan had to go all the way home. But now, we have a target. Outposts have been removed, so there is a way through on the north side here. BC should know better than to stop off and start stabbing onto these traders. If he does that, it's going to set core ablaze, but also make him mauled and return fire. It looks like we are getting ram spam coming in from core with that premium army, so hand cannoneers supported by a sequence of rams here. No mangoes behind this, by the way, so no siege play at all by Donati is a very big surprise here, considering he's up against Limitane and mass hand cannoneers, and he knows at least one of those elements, that it's going to be Limitane, that will take reduced range damage. Beastie. What are we doing, son? It looks like we're waiting for the trebs and we're going to push on through. Rams, in the meantime, from core are going to start to dent into the base. Johan marching across the fields. By the time they're ready to assault as free, it's probably going to be about 11 minutes until the timer. But at the same time, the distance isn't very high from BC's position here. Check this. Like, look. It's only 2 free keeps actually in the way to then reach into the wonder. And that is trebuchet play coming out from Beastie. So a solid solution here. Oh, this is going to be awkward. Guys, these elephants, they don't give a crap. Oh, this is so annoying if you're Core. And Core, by the way, he's in trouble. Horseman just pushed out against him here. Hand cannoneer count. Oh, wait. Did he already lose that many? He's down to 40. Core, please tell me he's got a second wave here. I mean, it's going to be Horseman. I don't know if Core's got enough resources here. Plenty of gold, but the food looking bad. He's trying to fix that. He did go multi-TCs, so over time this will be fixed. It's going to be quite the pickle. Yes, there is no stone walls, but for Don, that doesn't matter. He's now trying to get them up. If he wanted these, it needed to be sooner than this. So Limitane are going to keep the gap open. Cannonball emplacements are going to be annoying for the Limitane, though. Remember, they are ranged, so if you're in shield wall, you take the reduced damage, but it's still pretty high, even with that consideration. Kaiser Johan now moving forward. Going to set up the Siege Workshop proxy base. Had a few in the center, decided he needed to be even closer to the action, understandably so. And it is going to be an amassment of horsemen now coming out from core, so straining his economy, not much wood to work with, just enough to get this done. Plenty of time still to work with. We are 11.5 minutes away from a victory for Don. How will he do this? Can he do this? I am a little bit worried right now, guys. I'm not going to lie. My concern right now is either Core wins, either Donati wins or Beastie wins. Because what I see happening here is Beastie is still holding on to 8,000 stone here. He's building up a reserve because he's being cost efficient with his army. Limitane plus Trebs. The other two players are going to throw away a lot of troops denting this base. I don't think Beastie's going to lose much to do it. And the reason that's a risk is once the dust settles, if Donati's Wonder doesn't win the game, this is Beastie with 15 Nester Bees, a thick base, and a perfect position for a Wonder. Oh, man. And I don't know if Don is going to be able to do this. The amount of siege coming his way, 13 Rams and the Trebs moving across the map. Trebuchets on the north side. That is going to be the Greek fires as well. And wait. Isn't... Uh-oh. I think we have an illegal maneuver. Does anyone remember? I haven't double-checked this. The Greek fire, it didn't get patched, right? So the Greek fire tech still affects all range siege. And I think that does include mercenaries. If that's the case, that's a big problem. That's guaranteed GG, because that would mean that Beastie's Nessa Bees would be doing Greek fire damage as well. I really hope it's not the case. I mean, you can already see the impact this has. These Trebs walloping hard. Burn through, just definitely adding in that extra little tickle to get it down faster as the keeps begin to fall. Donati patrolling the base, needs to address the west side here. TCs are being burned a crisp, so is his archery range area. Mangoes are on the way. If he gets a wallop with 4 on these spears, it could be big, but quick peel away just in time by Kazu Johan. He starts to reform those lines. More ground being gained. In the meantime, in the center, we are going to see Core now transitioning into the bombards. Just a few groups of hand cannoneers here, but enough to get it done. North side, the pushing continues. Rax is now being set up. So, like we said, for Beastie, it's all about being cost efficient here. He only wants to spend food on this push. And if he has these Raxes, Limitane keeps those Trebs alive, it's only ever going to cost him food. Don, this is looking tough, man. 9 minutes left. I agree. I struggle to see a way in which Don is going to be able to hold this. He's moving in with the Springles now, but this is quite the pickle you find yourself in. The Trebs, they are counterweight, so 16 tower range versus your 12. He's being split left and right here. Streltsy now returning fire, chasing him away. Meanwhile, Core gaining ground, now up to 12 bombards. That means a lot of infrastructure is going down. I don't think Don has enough here. I mean, this is kind of weird to say, but if he'd set up the farms down here and the production up here, maybe. But right now, Don, 200 military, he has got eco in reserve. But right now, he's playing up against about 300 military total. And he is demolishing his base fast. Bombards are going to back up. Now, folks, that is a Kurultai with 18 bombards, but the Horsemen... and the attack speed are coming out. Just trying to guarantee the hand cannons get better exchange. It's going to be a peel back here by Core. Keeping as much of the siege alive as the flood through continues. But while the Horsemen are here, what's defending abroad? Rather at home in this case. It looks like a big enough army of ranged units to keep BC away. Progress is being made, though. I think this could be the nutcracker. Kaiser Johann, Streltsy really are the solution to all of this. Everything else kind of feels countered, right? Horsemen to deal with the hand cannoneers, and then also ranged units to deal with the Limitane. Don still struggling here. He's only halfway through the timer. His base is halfway dead. Don. I'm a bit worried about maybe wood here. Like Spearman plus Longbow. If he keeps losing like this, it doesn't seem like a lot, right? 20 wood here, 50 wood there. But at scale, with no extra wood coming in, it can kill you. Looks like Horsemen getting even more value. They are going to find the Rams, so push up against this. Whoa, way too much siege! Don! You absolute mad lad. He finds the siege club! And that's practically all of it gone. Now, there are Streltsy here killing off some of the cav, but a great read here as he's able to hold on the eastern flank and the west. Don! Don't you dare put doubt on this man's name. Don gets one step closer. Now, admittedly, even with the heavy losses, Kaiser is getting slightly closer as well. The Rams are deleting the production buildings. Don, despite having this amassment of horsemen, I think this might be a one trick, right? Stable-wise, he hasn't got many left. A very difficult game still for Red. 6.5 minutes away from a Don victory. So much siege going down. I don't even want to think about the numbers involved in that. Between about 10 trebuchets, 15 Rams, actually more than 10 Trebs, I think it was. 6 or 8 bombards. So many losses for Kaiser Johann. But what really matters here is Don. I don't think Bank is the question mark here, folks. I actually think it's production. Oh my god, he's losing everything right now. The stable's down. Don! He's out of ways of producing units now. And he's out of time. I think he's not going to make it here, folks. 5.5 minutes to go. This army has to last 5 minutes because he no longer has the ability to produce a new one. Lombo's trading out on the west side here up against the spears. Amassment of bombards could easily start sniping a lot of units down here, though. Horsemen are there to address the elephants, but immediately get redressed by the Limitane. And the bombard count with the Kurultai, with the healing. This Lombo count is going down. Donati now down to 95 total population. This is done. I no longer see the way. Another castle falls. His flanks are now exposed. No attack speed aura on these Lombos, so not even sniping down the bombards quickly. This is it. Don, dude, I feel so bad for him right now. if he had just deleted these farms, if he had just built additional stables here, I actually think Don would have done it. I think he realizes it as well. He's trying to build additional stables at the backside, but it's too late for that, Artie. Misread. After so many amazing plays, Don Artie is going to be denied his victory. 5 minutes left on the clock, and the Cathedral of St. Thomas will ring no more. Just like that, Sacred Sites now being targeted by Kaiser Johann. Feeling that Core has burnt himself out, thinks that he can maybe take on Beastie. It's going to be a hard ask, though. Beastie immediately pulls 47 villages to the back, and I think we know what's coming next. The first time we get to see it, the Cathedral of Divine Wisdom. Beastie had to patiently wait an hour and 20 minutes for this moment. But it is time, and it almost feels undeniable, and Core now is the Kingmaker. He gets to choose. Is it a Byzantine victory or a Rus victory? Doesn't matter. Keshiks are here. Come on. There's no way he loses the win condition to this. Spearmen are arriving, so it looks like the Keshiks won't be able to do it. However, more Spearmen on the way here. So BC is looking for that decap. Crafty bugger. And there you go. It is up. Cathedral of Divine Wisdom upon us. First time I've got to see this Byzantine wonder. I'm wondering if it's going to be a win. Actually, who are we kidding? This seems too easy. That's a lot of little domes. I'm going to give it to him. A lot of roof. I actually quite like the look of it. However, there goes the win condition. Well, boys, the question now is with about 4 minutes, can you take that sacred site? Because if you can't, this is over. And in fact, Corp, come on. Okay, so Corp, in this situation, maybe it's him playing to win, but realistically, how the hell do you get into BC's bases too? That is so difficult because the resources is built up. So the alternative is Core can say, okay, I'm going to help Johann win. But he doesn't want to do that. Instead, he's going to just interfere with the win conditions as well. This is making it almost now impossible for Kaiser Johann to get the Sacred Sites to win. He has 3 minutes. His army is pretty immobile. And he's split very wide. I've got a funny feeling this game is going to end with more of a fizzle than a bang. Oh, what do you guys think? Do you think Core should help Johann win? Because my thought here is like, how do you actually kill Beastie? Right? Core has got a decent army still, right? Like 22 bombards. Maybe there's a way, but the coordination is very difficult. You need Kaiser Johann to frontline. You need to have a good position where you wouldn't friendly fire, but that would also leave you exposed to Beastie flanking. People saying Core could have switched to further markets. It is kind of funny the way they've lined up perfectly for him to get better and better trade, but I think maybe he was worried about Kaiser Johann's position here. Remember, he was playing hand cannoneers, so the longer the trade, the harder it is to defend. His only hope is forcing Orange to help the Wonder even though they'll fail. Yeah, you might be right there. I mean, 13 Trebs is not a bad way of approaching this, but I'm wondering if it's going to be quick enough. 12.5 minutes. Spring's already being pumped. What's the comp from Beastie? I think it was just a massman of Nesta Bees and still is. 21 Nesta Bees. Okay, so let me blow your mind right now. You know that really annoying late game Chinese comp where you just get Nesta Bees and Spearmen and you kill everything? This is a better version of that. Yeah, no, really. This is a better version. Because although your siege isn't as tanky as the Chinese Nesta Bees, your Spearmen are a lot more tanky. Landmark's being targeted here, folks. This is not going to be easy. You have to play all the way into the back, into the Foreign Engineering Company, and I love the double wall detail by Beastie to make it not a quick breach. Cool. Now moving in. Now, I still don't know if these Nesta Bees get affected by the Greek Fire. That's something I'm not sure of. I haven't tested that. I remember someone saying it was all Siege gets the Greek Fire, even though it's only meant to be Trebs, but I think that's all Byzantine Siege. So technically, he hasn't done anything dirty here. Yeah, they don't. So in fairness, he played Greek Fire to use them on Trebs, which is as intended. 22 Nesta Bees, though. Hi, Karamba. Sprim's also getting a few freebies. That is an insane number of bombards. Now up to 24. Is there a way? Is there an opportunity? Core needs to be fast. Limitane has just split off to deal with his trade, so Core has one shot at this. Treb's also moving in, maybe with the right positioning, but it's going to be difficult. If the micro's on point, Core could still do this. The Sprinals are problematic, though. The 12 tower range versus the 10. But if you bait the Nesta Bees in and you snipe each of them down, there is a way to make this work. BC right now, only 1.6k olive oil. They're dealing with the farms. They've got plenty of time to work with here. 10 minutes away from a victory for Beastie. More bombards being sniped in the meantime. Springolds are targeting onto the cavalry instead. They need to recalibrate and go after the bombers. Keshiks are wrapping in, so a lot of eco gone. Beastie has got plenty of food to work with, but not much olive oil. So any Nesta Bees lost, it's going to be permanent damage done. Meanwhile, deeper dive coming in. Johan ignoring all the infrastructure. He needs to start targeting it down with the Trebs. Finally does it, but I think you got a bit too close here. Like, use these correctly. 4 or 5 targeting each of these. Take these out, and Beastie has no reproduction. Don't, and you give him a way of fighting back. Limitane just still trying to dent into Streltsy. Spiral's now wrapping around. A bit of miscoordination here. It was a back away by Core, and I think that might have been the mistake. Or maybe it's the Grace. Check this. BC's out of position right now. He doesn't have a way through the gates. The walls are a blocker. He is completely out of position here. And it is going to start to be a ride in. Now, Core, if he's fast about this, the bombards can snipe these out, but he needs to be quick. Instead, it might be the Streltsy going down. Moving away just in time. Johan dodges death. Second wave coming in, Core. Wasting a lot of time on the farms, but he needs to be addressing the siege. This is going to be the win condition for Beastie. Wonder still 9 minutes away. Core, he went in deep. He found the back line, but he needs to find the siege right now. And I think he realizes that Keshik moving in, but a little bit too late. Second wave. Beastie, out of position. Keshik's get him. Army reacting to this, but now he's body blocking himself. Nesta Bees flurry comes out. Core, half the cavalry is dead. It's like a Nobunaga flashbang right now. Bombards moving in. Limitane broken through though, and the Keshiks are dead. Beastie with the unlimited Limitane. And the horde of bees is breaking the Mongol formation. Second wave of Keshiks. No fire coming out from the bombards. No fire coming out from the bees. He's in. Nesta Bees count down to 14. Bombards diving through. He's looking for it. Beastie, he hasn't got the troops to defend it right now. Limitane trying to do what they can. He's looking for the landmark snipe. No rebuild coming out either. It's do or die here, and he knows it. Bombard count. Core needs that breach. One more hit to get through the wall. It's 7 bombards, make it 5. Foreign engineering company. Third. Needs to take 2 more thirds off. I don't think it's going to be quick enough. It's going to be so close. Core! 2.4k HP, but he can't get it done. Core unable to break him. Beastie with less than half HP on the final landmark survives. And Core has blown it all. Oh my god. And the second Keshik wave will be saying hello to the afterlife. Beastie with the hold. What an insane hold as well. A crazy hold. The panic set in there. Core, did you notice it, folks? That wall, after the first volley, had 10% HP max. Actually, more like 2. Core then shot all the bombard cannons again into that wall. If he had triggered one and saved the others, the remaining shots to those bombards would have bare minimum set fire to the engineering company. But now, there is no way. 7 minutes left on the timer, but Core is running out of gas fast. The Nesta Bees have been reduced to 6. Make that 8, but that's not what matters. What matters is Core needs a way in. He's going to try once more into the breach, but the Nesta Bees fire comes in hard. And the Keshiks are dead. Core now with no military, no way. Trade was shut down. He's been removed from the game. This is a Beastie win. And what a way to do it. Beastie in classic form might wait to pull the trigger. But as is so traditional with his games, it truly comes down to the line to do it. Core is out. It's a one-on-one. The Trebs have no easy way of reaching the final landmark. This game is over.